Good afternoon, students. Last week we discussed on the concept of curriculum and the changing definition of curriculum. I told us this week we'll look at the functions of curriculum and types of curriculum. Now, to continue from where we stopped after looking at the scopes of of curriculum, we said curriculum has three scopes, which are program of studies, program of activities, and program of guidance. Today we will look at the functions of curriculum and types of curriculum, if time permit. Now, we have different functions of curriculum. I would say WUCA 1996 stated the functions of curriculum. One, he said it determines educational direction, including the decision of the types of society people want to live and serve in. Yes, curriculum is the only area that determines the decision and the direction of the society in which they want to live and serve in. This is because curriculum as it is goes with the philosophy of the society. That is, what type of knowledge will we give to will the society want to give to the younger ones? What type of life and what type of decision are they taking for themselves? And that is to say, if you are in curriculum, maybe your decision is to study or for the student to live as science-oriented society, or you want to live as art-oriented society. It all depends on the type of curriculum that you provide, and the type of curriculum the curriculum you provide decide how the society lives. We also look at the curriculum as it determines the principles and procedures which will help educators in selecting and arranging instructional programs. Number three, we said it concerns itself with the application of the choosing principle with a view to bringing about the expected goals. What goals have you set for yourself? What will you apply that you have chosen for yourself that you will achieve the goal of life? We also say curriculum, one of its functions, it determines and assess what change have been brought about against or result of the educational effort, and whether or not this has been along the expected ends or goals. It determines what action should be taken next in the light of what has been attained. That is to say, if you look at what you have prepared in curriculum, if you have duly achieved it, it tells you, or it indicates that it goes and tell you what next are you supposed to do, because curriculum as it is determine the society, the direction after achieving a particular program or particular achievement in a curriculum. It shows you whether you have achieved that curriculum or you have not achieved. If you have achieved it, now you decide what type of program are you bringing back to the younger ones. If you have not achieved it, you goes back and take those ones. Having said this, I want us to look at the features, so the characteristic of a good curriculum. And the following are features or characteristics of a good curriculum. One, a good curriculum must have a purposeful aims and objective. And that is why a good curriculum must have aims and objectives clearly stated out. What do you want to achieve? What are the aims of education? what are the objectives that we want to achieve. So these aims and objectives must bear in mind the societal values and need of the child in mind. So that is number one. A good curriculum must be functional, and that is why we say functionality. A good curriculum should also be functional. By functionality, we mean it must be workable. That curriculum must not stop at any level. Implementable, practicable, feasible, otherwise it will not be a good curriculum. So once a curriculum is seen as a good curriculum, it must be functional, that is, it must work, and we must make sure that we implement that curriculum. We must make sure that that curriculum is practicable. If curriculum is not practicable, it is not a good curriculum. Flexibility. Any good curriculum must also have the feature of being flexible. This means the curriculum must be such that it's adaptable to the need of the changing learner and the society. What we mean here is that curriculum must work in such a way that it must be adaptable to the society. That is, it must be fitted to the need of the society at all levels. What we mean adaptable, it means that that curriculum must meet the changing need of the society at all the time, and the learner's need must also be seen. Curriculum is not supposed to be rigid. Once curriculum is rigid, it means we have a problem. But if it is flexible, it changes with the dynamic nature of the society, so the learner can fit in at any level of the society. That is what we mean by adaptability or flexibility of the curriculum. Evaluation. Any good curriculum should be subjected to evaluation from time to time to ensure that there is progress, and the progress in the desired direction. Evaluation will also show the point of strength and weaknesses in the curriculum. So whatever thing being learned must be evaluated, must be checked. That is why at all levels we said curriculum must be evaluated. It either be evaluated when the program is going on, or after the program we check and see the strengths and the weaknesses that has taken place in the curriculum. So evaluation at times is the last aspect of the curriculum, and once we check the strengths and the weakness of the curriculum, it gives us direction. We know where we forge to. So that is the last aspect of it in curriculum evaluation. Now, having said this, looking at the features of a good curriculum, I want us to look at the types of curriculum, because I told us that we'll look at the functions of curriculum as well as types of curriculum. When we look at, or when we want to talk of types of curriculum, some textbook will tell you curriculum design, some will say types of curriculum, or others, but all the same, the two words are being used interchangeably in curriculum. When you go to other textbooks or other scholars, they will tell you curriculum design. But here at this level, I want us to look at it as types of curriculum. Now, this type of curriculum has been designed for quite a long time, because curriculum contents and learning experiences are usually organized following different design and pattern for easy assimilation by students. Some of the patterns of organization of these contents are familiar and some are relatively new. But In this very work, we will discuss some of these factors. We look at, we will discuss the different type of curriculum design. We'll discuss the advantages of different curriculum design. We'll list the advantages of different curriculum design. I've told us that types and design are the same. So we'll look at the different types of curriculum here. We have different types of curriculum. We have subject-centered curriculum, we have core curriculum, we have child-centered curriculum, we have different types of curriculum. We have what do you call it, broad field curriculum or integrated curriculum. But these ones that I mentioned, we will see them one after the other. We'll begin from subject-centered curriculum. And when we talk of subject-centered curriculum, we say this is the oldest and most common patterns of curriculum organization. The basis for the organization of the curriculum is the traditional subject. This curriculum design is therefore a collection and arrangement of knowledge into subject areas which are studied separately or sometimes in relation to each other. That is, this is a curriculum that has been arranged, and the knowledge that is being given under this curriculum is separated under what? Under subject areas where we learned in our school. And this type of curriculum is still practicing today. For example, in secondary school, we have English as a subject that students are learning. We have mathematics as a subject that students are learning. We have biology as a subject that students are learning. We have chemistry as a subject that students learn. Physics, economics, geography, and many others. We have them. And the knowledge of this subject are given to students in a separate way, even though we may have some knowledge that are related. But chemistry has its own subject and knowledge that is being imparted. Physics has its own knowledge that is being imparted separately. Biology has its own subject and knowledge that is being imparted separately. So you discover that all the knowledge acquired on this subject-centered curriculum are separate knowledge. That is why we call them subject-centered curriculum. Under this subject-centered curriculum, we have the merit and the demerit of it. Now, some of the advantages of the subject-centered curriculum are as follows. We have the subject-centered curriculum design enhance specialization, because individuals can study and specialize in their specific subject areas. That is why today, when you come to secondary school, you discover this maths teacher, this is geography master, this is English master, because everybody learned that one and specialize. Today, in this very class, most of us in curriculum, we are in curriculum as a general course, but some of you specializes in chemistry education, some physics education, some biology education, some social studies education, some English education, and you acquire different knowledge in all these fields. And that is why you are a specialist on it. Now, it is an advantage because he who read English education cannot know social studies. He who read or who is reading chemistry education don't know much about physics. That is why you are a specialist in your areas of specialization. It makes teaching and learning easier because the knowledge is arranged into different subject areas that teachers and students can specialize in. Teachers can easily plan, organize, and teach in subject areas. Today, because you specialize, or people specialize in different areas, they teach the course they know. Curriculum as a subject, I specialize in it. That's why I'm teaching you curriculum. I cannot teach you a research method, and it is the same thing. That is why everybody knows his areas and teach that area easily. Then we said examination bodies set questions based on subject areas. That is why today you see JAM, you see WAEC, NECO, and others, NAPTEX. They set their exam based on the subject areas. Admission into colleges, universities, and other tertiary institutions are also based on the subject content design. Yes, when you wrote your JAM, there are subjects that are being selected that will qualify you to read a particular course. That is why, or that was why during your screening, the post-UME screening, it is called that they will look at your subject combination before you are qualified to read a particular course in the university. You want to read medicine today, you can write JAM on government, history, and any other either IRS or CRS. That will not qualify you to read medicine. But if you are reading medicine, you want to read medicine, the subject areas that will qualify you to be admitted in the university, you read the science, you write the science courses, either physics, chemistry, biology. That will qualify you to read medicine. So it is also an advantage. Employers also engage school learners and graduate on the basis of the subject they studied. Of course, after your graduation today, as educationists, Nasarawa State government may decide to say they want to employ science teachers, and if they want to employ science teachers alone, you see those that read chemistry, biology, physics, maybe geography, they will have advantage. If they want to mathematics, if they want to employ English teachers or English teachers or art teachers, those that read English and other art subjects will have advantage. So it also helps in terms of employment. Having said the advantages, we still have the disadvantages of the subject-centered curriculum. The following are the disadvantages of the subject-centered curriculum or design. We said the design led to the fragmentation of knowledge, as knowledge is divided into different subject areas. Instead for us to combine all the knowledge, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, and others into one knowledge, and said we learn them all, those subjects were separated. We have separated into different knowledge, so making us to have to be limited in other areas. Instead for us to have a sound knowledge in all aspects, we are now limited in some other areas of knowledge. Also prevent interrelated learning, as learners see the different subject areas as unrelated to others aspects of life. Of course, it prevents others to have learning to be interrelated, because you felt you are in science, what will you do with government? You are a math teacher, you have nothing to do with history, so nothing. The subject-centered design also divorces the content from the concern of the learners. It lacks direct relationship with the problems and interests of the learner. It does not train the student to tackle the problems of living, as emphasis is on covering the areas of knowledge specified and passing examination. To Nwonko, 1996, the subject-centered design minimized understanding an analysis of what is learned. Learners lack initiative, creativity, and the capacity to create culture. Having seen subject-centered curriculum, broad field curriculum, integrated curriculum, or multidisciplinary curriculum, the shortcoming of the subject-centered curriculum brought about the broad field curriculum. It is an attempt at interdisciplinary and an effort to overcome the compartmentalization and atomization of curriculum. The same Nwuka in 1996, he said the design is such that several specific subject areas are brought, united together to give rise to longer field. For instance, history, civic, and geography combines to give social study. That is, social study is taken from all the social sciences and anthropologies. Biology, chemistry, and physics combine to give integrated science. Language, art may include reading, spelling, composition, and handwriting. In the universities, we have biology and chemistry combining together to give biochemistry. Geography and physics combining to give geophysics, etc. So you discover that in the broad field curriculum, different subject, one or two subjects combines together to give a sound knowledge. The merit of broad field curriculum: it facilitates a more functional organization of knowledge by relating to the need of the child and the society. The design eliminates excessive factual details, and so it becomes possible for both teachers and learners to cover wide grounds. It helps for integration of subject matters, thereby helping to reduce pressure on the school timetable. The design helps to encourage greater flexibility in the choice of content, knowledge to be imparted on the subject. It helps learners to see the relationship among different subject areas and also help for transfer of knowledge. The demerit of broad field curriculum are as follows. It is difficult to integrate some subject areas, and in some cases the integration is only formal. Many teachers are not specifically for broad field curriculum, and as such they tend to emphasize or stick to their respective subject or discipline. The curriculum design is costly and more difficult to operate or implement. The design does not give room for specialization. Students have superficial knowledge of many things, but no depth in the knowledge, and students are usually half-baked academically. That is to say it in this, one of the disadvantages, you discover that students will have very, very small knowledge. If you are reading integrated science, you pick small knowledge of physics, you pick small knowledge of chemistry, small knowledge of biology, small knowledge of mathematics, but you don't know deep. When they are looking for biology teacher and you read integrated science, you said I know chemistry, you said I know physics, you said I know, but you have no sound or depth knowledge on those things. You are half-baked. That is the disadvantages of a broad field curriculum. Now, having seen what broad field curriculum is all about, we'll quickly look at the activity/experience-centered curriculum. This type of curriculum design is learner-centered. That is, the focus of the activities of the experience-centered curriculum focus on the learner. That is why when writing a lesson plan as a teacher, we have what we call previous knowledge. And this previous knowledge look at the experiences of the learner on the topic that you are about to teach, so that you make connection between the experience of the learner and that topic that you want to teach, whether students have a perfect experience or little experience on what you want to teach. It is the same thing with curriculum. You have to look at the activity of the learner. You have to look at the experiences of the learner before you establish or you bring up a standard curriculum. And once you look at the activities of the learner, then that curriculum is centered on the learner, and the learner will have interest and will participate much on that curriculum. So this is because consideration is given to learners' interest, need, and motivation. The learner interest will be there, the need of the learner is there, and the motivational aspect that the learner will contribute his own quota in the curriculum. Activity-centered curriculum, therefore, is an approach with very flexible ideas and adaptation of the curriculum to the need of children. That curriculum is for the need. You adapt that curriculum so that the child need is what is covered, is put into consideration. The natural setting of human growth and development. The design encourage cooperation. Planning as the curriculum is not planned in advance. It is not planned in advance. You look at the current situation. What is the need of the child? For example, today you know that our children are digital children, are computer children. Some of us were born as analog, but today your children at the age, some of us who are parents, when you look at the activity of the child, you discover that children even at the age of 2 have started operating our handset, Android phones. They will play games, they will listen to music, they will manipulate the phone in one way or the other. You discover that they have become digital children. Digital in the sense that what the children will manipulate now, some of us parents, we cannot do it. And that is why when we look at the experience-centered curriculum, we felt that it is planned looking at the present situation. You are not planning it in advance. You are planning it looking at the activity, looking at the need, looking at what the child is in their need as of that moment. So, since the learner interest provides the basis for planning instruction, the curriculum is designed to relate to the entire life of the child. And that is why this type of curriculum is also called child-centered curriculum. Of course, during our time in primary school, we don't know anything like computer. But today, even in nursery schools, computer are being taught to our children. In primary school, children have started learning computer because the world today is a global village, and the need of the child is met through the desire and the activity of the learner. We have the merit of the activity or experience centered curriculum, and they are as follows. It encourages creativity. That is to say, this is because it is activity based, and learners are given the opportunity to be creative and innovative. The learner is at the center of the curriculum, and as such, the teacher is made more active because you plan the curriculum based on the need of the learner, based on the interest of the learner. The learner now is at the center of the curriculum, and the teacher is made active because of the child participation in the curriculum. The design allows for greater measures of flexibility and emphasize not on coverage of syllabus of written examination or written examination. It also widens the horizon of the learner in the direction of preparing the child for solving practical problems early in life. So when we look at this design, we are not just looking at it. We are not just looking at it at coverage of content or syllabus, but because the child is very much interested in the curriculum, we discover that the participation of the learner is more, and it makes the learner to have a sound knowledge on what he is doing. His learning ability, his horizon of understanding is widening, and therefore it prepares the learner for problem solving in life, and he will begin solving this problem as early as he is in life. We also have the disadvantages of the experience-centered curriculum. We said this design is time-consuming in terms of implementation, as it caters for the need and interest of the learner. Yes, it is time-consuming because you cannot look at the interest of the learner and capture their attention at the same time. You must take your time, you must look at it and try to implement that which the child is in need. It is also difficult to identify the common interests of the learners, of course, because you cannot identify the whole interest of the learners. So it is difficult for the child or for you as a teacher to identify child A is in need of this, the interest of child B is this, the interest of child C is this. How can you identify the whole of their problems and bring them together? It is another problem. We say the design also neglects social values and norms, since its focus is strictly on the need and interest of the child. Of course, because the essential knowledge, the values that a society may have, it is not there again. We overlook the norms of the society, having concentrate on the need and the aspiration of the learner. We discover that you have forgotten about the culture. It is what the child wants now that we give it to him. So it is also a disadvantage to the society. The interests of children or learners are usually short lived, and as such lack continuity on which any purposeful experience can be based. Yes, the short life of the need or the experience of the learner. Children who are growing today, this is what they want, and tomorrow the other children may need another different thing. So the lifespan of this curriculum does not go far. It is very short, because tomorrow, if children today are interested in this particular aspect, tomorrow other children will be interested on another different thing. As such, you discover that the need of the child is what? Is short, and the curriculum as it is will lack continuity, and because it lacks continuity, the curriculum must stop. Having said this, we have other core curriculums and others that we need to study. But when you come next, we'll look at them and we study. We look at the core curriculum and other design of the curriculum. Thank you very much. We meet in the next class next week and continue with the types of curriculum.